We're counting down the 20 most heated confrontations in women's golf history. From explosive locker room protests and public rifts between superstars to championship-altering penalties and rules that changed the sport forever. Each entry reveals how pressure, controversy, and institutional challenges have shaped the modern game. Which flashpoint ranks as the moment that transformed golf? Let's begin the countdown with number 20, the policy clash that's about to make slow play the most expensive mistake in women's golf. The LPGA's new slow play crackdown arrives in 25, promising a season where every second counts. For the first time, players face both stroke penalties and fines for exceeding strict shot clocks, 40 seconds per shot, with only a brief allowance for the first player on par threes. Once a group falls behind, officials can start timing every stroke. 1 to 5 seconds over means a fine, 6 to 15 seconds, a one-stroke penalty, 16 seconds or more, 2 strokes on the card. After years of demanding action against marathon rounds, players now confront the sharp edge of their own advocacy. The policy covers both the LPGA and Epson tours, aiming to break the cycle of endless delays and restore pace to the professional game. Charlie Hull and Nelly Korda didn't hold back at the 2024 AIG Women's Open. Hull's round stretched past 6 hours, leaving her furious. 6 hours and 10 minutes. That's just not acceptable at this level. No wonder people at home switch off watching us. On social media, she called the pace killing the excitement. Korda echoed the frustration, describing the marathon rounds as exhausting and tough to watch. With average groups clocking nearly 6 hours, their words ricocheted through headlines and broadcasts. Sponsors and fans piled on, demanding answers. The pressure from golf's biggest names forced officials to promise urgent action. Leona Maguire sat out 3 of 5 sessions at the 24 Solheim Cup, a move that stunned both fans and teammates. After years as Europe's go-to competitor, her reduced role fueled speculation and frustration. Maguire didn't hide her disappointment, telling reporters it was a bitter pill to swallow, and that she hadn't been given a clear reason for her benching. The absence of explanation from Captain Suzanne Pettersen only deepened the mystery. Media coverage exploded, dissecting every word and glance. For a team event built on unity, Maguire's public challenge exposed rare cracks in the European camp and sent a ripple through the locker room. Pairing sheets for the 2024 Solheim Cup landed with a jolt. Captain Suzanne Pettersen benched 2 of Europe's top 10 ranked players, including Leona Maguire, from the opening foursomes. The decision drew sharp questions at the pre-tournament press conference, with Pettersen defending her approach as a matter of strategy and team balance. Headlines dissected every possible motive, while analysts questioned the wisdom of sidelining proven performers in the event's most pressure-packed session. Before a single shot was struck, scrutiny over the captain's choices had already overshadowed the usual optimism, fueling tension across both the team room and international media. Players arrived at the 2023 LPGA season opener at Lake Nona, expecting top-tier facilities, only to find there was no dedicated locker room. Forced to change in parking lots and cars, photos of the scene spread quickly across social media, igniting outrage among athletes and fans. Within a day, organizers scrambled to install temporary lockers and issue public apologies, but the damage was done. The incident exposed a glaring gap in how women's events are prioritized, sparking calls for equal treatment and basic respect at the highest levels of professional golf. Carlota Chiganda's Evian Championship unraveled on the 11th hole. After 3 prior warnings for slow play, officials handed her a disqualification, an outcome almost unheard of at a major. The timing sheets showed repeated delays, but Saganda refused to accept the verdict quietly. Within hours, she blasted tournament officials on Instagram, accusing them of ruining the tournament for players and fans. Her post rocketed past 100,000 likes, sparking a wave of support and backlash. Media outlets dissected the disqualification notice and player timing logs, while fans argued over fairness and consistency. Saganda's fury transformed a rules infraction into a viral public relations crisis, putting the spotlight on the human cost of strict enforcement. Nelly Korda, the world's top-ranked player, didn't just echo frustration over slow play. She took a stand that surprised many of her peers. In the days after Carlota Siganda's disqualification at the Evian Championship, Korda told reporters that marathon rounds are tough to watch and welcomed the idea of tougher penalties. While some players vented about overzealous enforcement, Korda argued that the game needed accountability, even if it meant unpopular fines or strokes. Her stance drew sharp responses from fellow pros on social media, but TV analysts and fans praised her willingness to back the officials. Korda's support gave new momentum to stricter rules, exposing a rift among the sport's biggest names over how to fix the pace of play crisis. Lexi Thompson faced reporters after a costly late-match mistake at the 2023 Solheim Cup, but the answers never came. 5 times, she replied with a curt, "No comment," her expression giving away nothing. The exchange lasted less than 2 minutes before Thompson left the podium, the clip racing to over 2 million views online. Teammates later admitted the tension followed them back to the team room, where some avoided even mentioning the incident. For Thompson, the press conference became another round. This one played under the glare of headlines and social media, where every silence was replayed and every gesture scrutinized. The emotional weight of that afternoon would linger long after the tournament ended. Lydia Ko's 2023 Dana Open unraveled not from a single mistake, but a cascade of misunderstood drops. On 4 different holes, Ko and her caddy misapplied the tournament's preferred lies rule, taking relief where it wasn't allowed. No one caught the errors in real time. Not Ko, not her playing partners, not the officials. Only after the round, when broadcast footage was reviewed, did the full extent come to light. Officials walked Ko through each hole, reconstructing every drop. The result? A staggering 7 penalty strokes, one of the harshest single-round penalties in LPGA history. Facing cameras, Ko calmly explained the situation, her professionalism on display, even as the technicalities of the rulebook left her with a scorecard almost impossible to recover from. Nelly Korda's eagle putt at the 2021 Solheim Cup hung on the edge of the hole, refusing to drop. As the ball lingered, Madeline Sagstrom reached in and scooped it up after just 7 seconds, intending to tidy the green. But Rule 13.3a is clear. Players must wait a full 10 seconds for an overhanging ball to fall. The referee, stopwatch in hand, confirmed the wait was too short. By rule, the US was awarded the hole, swinging the match and leaving Sagstrom visibly upset. The incident boiled down to a split-second decision, turning a technicality into a turning point, and reminding everyone how precise timing can decide a team's fate at the highest level. Amy Olsen and Aria Jutanugarn found themselves at the center of a storm during the 2019 LPGA season when their group left a ball in place as a potential backstop on the green. Olsen's chip bounced off Jutanugarn's ball, and instead of calling for a penalty, the two shared a fist bump, captured on live broadcast and instantly dissected online. By the letter of the rules, no infraction had occurred. Players are allowed to leave a ball in position if both agree. But the celebration ignited a fierce debate about sportsmanship and the gray area between legal play and fair play. Critics argued the move skirted the spirit of competition, while others insisted the rules were clear. The viral moment forced the golf world to confront whether following the rulebook is always enough, or if the game demands something more. Danielle Kang's Solheim Cup singles match in 2019 turned into a public pressure cooker the moment officials placed her group on the clock. Twice, the referees approached with timing sheets in hand, tracking every second of her pre-shot routine. As Kang lined up a crucial putt on the 16th, the gallery's patience snapped. Loud boos and chants of "let them play" echoed across the green. The official timing log recorded delays, but the atmosphere grew tense with each warning. Kang's focus wavered under the weight of the stopwatch and the jeering crowd, her performance visibly affected. The match outcome hung on these moments, showing how the presence of rules officials and the judgment of thousands can turn a championship stage into a psychological gauntlet. Brooke Henderson's frustration boiled over during the 2018 KPMG Women's PGA Championship. After a missed shot, she slammed her club into the ground in a split-second outburst. The shaft snapped, and the club head shot past her caddy, missing him by barely 6 feet. The moment, caught on camera, rocketed to 1.5 million views online within days. No penalty was issued, but the scene sparked a fierce debate about professionalism and safety on the course. Players and commentators questioned how close the near miss came to disaster. raising concerns about emotional control under pressure. For many, the viral clip became a cautionary tale. Even the world's best can let frustration turn physical, and the risks are real. Rain pounded the Evian Championship in 2017, but it wasn't the weather that left the deepest mark on the tournament. It was the decisions made behind closed doors. After hours of delays and mounting frustration, officials wiped out all first-round scores, erasing a full day's play as if it never happened. Players returned to the course, only to learn the major would be shortened to 54 holes, a rare move for one of golf's most prestigious events. The official explanation cited unplayable conditions, but the backlash was immediate and fierce. Athletes voiced their anger in interviews and on social media, while fans accused organizers of undermining the championship's integrity. The credibility of the Evian and the faith in those running it took a direct hit, fueling louder calls for player input and transparency at the highest levels of women's golf. 60 players packed into a closed-door meeting at the 2017 KLPGA Championship, voices rising over a day of chaos. Confusion about course markings and inconsistent penalties had left the field in uproar. As officials tried to defend their rulings, player leaders threatened to walk out, live on television, unless every first-round score was erased. The tension broke only when tour officials capitulated, issuing a formal notice. All first-round results would be wiped from the record, a move without precedent in professional golf. The decision sent shockwaves through the sport, proving that collective player action could force even the most powerful institutions to back down. In the aftermath, the voided score stood as a warning. Player unity could overturn the rulebook itself. In July 2017, the LPGA sent players a memo banning leggings, short skirts, and plunging necklines, citing the need to uphold the tour's image for sponsors. The reaction was instant and fierce. Lexi Thompson fired back with a viral protest, arriving at her next event in a throwback outfit that flouted every new restriction: knee-high socks, a short skirt, and a collared shirt straight out of the 1970s. The photo racked up over 3 million impressions in a single weekend, and sponsors grew uneasy as the backlash spread across social media. Thompson's message was clear: players deserved the right to express themselves without being policed for their appearance. The dress code war exposed a deeper fight over autonomy and image, forcing the LPGA to reckon with player voices demanding respect both on and off the course. The LPGA's decision to ban viewer call-ins for rules violations took effect in 2018, closing the door on one of the sport's most painful chapters. For Lexi Thompson, the rule change brought a sense of justice long overdue. She had lived through the fallout, months of anxiety and sleepless nights, after losing the 2017 ANA inspiration to a penalty triggered by a fan's email. When the new policy was announced, Thompson didn't hide her relief, telling reporters, "It's finally fair." She spoke openly about the toll the incident took on her mental health, but also about the gratitude she felt for the support that carried her through. The ban placed responsibility for enforcement squarely on officials, not the public, giving players a measure of security they had never known before. For Thompson and her peers, advocacy had delivered real reform. Anna Nordqvist's shot from the bunker during the 2016 U.S. Women's Open playoff looked routine at first glance, but as she played her approach, a few grains of sand moved, barely noticeable to anyone watching live. Only later, after the hole was finished, did rules officials review high-definition footage and spot the club's faint contact with the sand. Under Rule 12.2b, that meant a two-stroke penalty, applied retroactively during the most pressure-packed moment of her career. Nordqvist, who hadn't realized anything was amiss, suddenly found herself trailing in a playoff for a major title because of a violation invisible to the naked eye. The decision sparked immediate debate. Should a championship hinge on slow-motion replay, or what players and officials can reasonably see in real time? Nordqvist's calm acceptance couldn't mask the unease running through the locker room. For many, the incident raised a hard question about fairness and technology's place in golf's biggest moments. On the 17th green at the 2015 Solheim Cup, Allison Lee faced a 3-foot putt to halve the hole. Believing it had been conceded, she picked up her ball. Suzanne Pettersson, representing Europe, stood firm. No concession had been given. By the rules, Europe claimed the hole. Lee's eyes filled with tears as the reality set in, her teammates rallying around her while the American captain fumed. The moment exploded across the golf world, with fans and commentators debating whether the letter of the law should outweigh the spirit of fair play. That night, the locker rooms pulsed with tension, Lee devastated, Pedersen resolute but shaken. By morning, Pedersen's regret was clear. She apologized to the U.S. team face-to-face and later posted publicly, "I've never felt more gutted and truly sad about what went down. I feel like I let my team down, and I am sorry." The scars from that afternoon linger, a reminder of how the rules can cut deeper than any missed putt. On April 2, 2017, Lexi Thompson stood on the 13th tee at the ANA Inspiration, leading a major championship, when an official approached with news that would rock the sport. An email from a television viewer had alerted the LPGA to a possible rules violation from the previous day. After reviewing broadcast footage, officials determined Thompson had replaced her ball about an inch off its original spot on the 17th green, an error unnoticed by anyone at the time. The penalty? 2 strokes for improper placement, plus 2 more for signing an incorrect scorecard. 4 shots, all at once. Thompson's stunned reply, "Is this a joke?" captured the disbelief felt across the golf world. She fought back tears and played on, ultimately losing in a playoff. Outrage followed. Players, fans, and analysts condemned the idea that a major could be decided by a fan's email and a slow-motion replay. The backlash forced the LPGA and governing bodies to act. By 2018, outside reports were banned. No more penalties from armchair referees. Thompson's heartbreak became the catalyst for one of golf's most sweeping rule changes, ending an era where championships could be lost to calls from the couch. From locker room showdowns to major championship heartbreaks, these 20 heated confrontations chart the true battlegrounds of women's golf. The list moves from slow play policy disputes at number 20, through viral player outbursts, to the historic Lexi Thompson ANA penalty at number 1. A moment so controversial, it changed golf's rules forever. Across all entries, one pattern stands out. Pressure doesn't just come from the course, but from outdated traditions, institutional blind spots, and the razor-sharp edge of rules enforcement. The Solheim Cup repeatedly emerged as a flashpoint, while video technology and public scrutiny escalated the stakes. Star power and player advocacy have driven lasting reforms, but emotional costs, from public tears to viral confrontations, remind us that every rulebook page comes at a human price. These moments qualify not just for their controversy, but for exposing the deep tension between fairness, integrity, and progress in women's golf. Ultimately, this countdown proves that when the fight over the sport's future gets heated, it's often the confrontations themselves that force the game and its institutions to evolve.